I'm Frank, Bulldog extraordinaire, king of Brooklyn, at least the 3 blocks around our apartment, and, naturally, the resident side-eye expert on all things holiday. Ever since I moved in with Henry, I've had to endure this thing called Christmas. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of a good roast beef, and if Christmas means more of that, then count me in. But the rest of it, let's just say I've got some questions. And no, they're not about which carol goes with which peppermint scent. I'm talking about why everyone in my neighborhood starts acting like they've stepped onto some glitter-dusted movie set, where everyone's supposed to smile, wear strange sweaters, and pretend like they're genuinely thrilled by 10 pounds of tinsel. The first clue Christmas is coming, Henry starts bringing home these big boxes filled with weird, shiny stuff. I see the glimmer of lights and tinsel, those flashy decorations that are one broken bulb away from blinding a guy. Sure, I try to help by sniffing each box, giving my official Frank seal of approval, a bark and a sniff. But I think Henry knows I'm not convinced by this whole Christmas magic thing. To me, it smells like cardboard and plastic. What makes me laugh the hardest? Henry's insistence on wearing these ridiculous sweaters. I mean, the guy usually sticks to his gray and navy suits for work. So when he shows up in the living room sporting a red sweater with a reindeer on it, I lose it. And he's got one with a tree too, with these little lights that flash. I'd be embarrassed to be seen with him on a normal walk in that getup. But somehow, around Christmas, he's convinced it's stylish. Humans. They're a species, all right. So yes, I'm not exactly thrilled about the tree, the lights, or the carolers who show up at the door and sing as if I'm not barking my head off. And, speaking of the tree, can someone explain why Henry insists on dragging this massive green thing into our living room? It's like he wants me to believe it's just another piece of furniture. Except this one sheds needles all over my favorite napping spot, and I get told off if I try to mark it as my own. It's official now. The whole apartment smells like cinnamon and something else I can't quite place. Henry went all out this year, buying candles, wreaths, and these cookies he says are just for decoration. That didn't stop me from trying to sneak a taste. I may be a dog, but if something smells like food, I'm the first in line. And let me tell you, these 4 decoration-only cookies taste like cardboard. There's a reason we dogs have instincts, and my nose knew better. I should have listened. Then there's the music. Oh, the music. I'm all for a good beat, but these jingles? It's like the same song playing on repeat. I swear, if I have to hear Jingle Bells one more time, I'm going to lose it. I mean, sure, I'll give a little tail wag for Silent Night now and then, but there's only so much a dog can take. Meanwhile, Henry's in his zone, humming along as he hangs ornaments on that ridiculous tree. He even caught me trying to swat one down last night. I tried to play innocent, but we both knew I'd been eyeing that sparkly ball for days. What can I say? It looked fun. And you know what? I've got to admit something. Deep down, I kind of enjoy this whole routine. Henry's not the kind of guy who usually has time for decorating and baking. But at Christmas, he slows down a bit. He doesn't rush out the door every morning. Sometimes he even takes a whole extra hour to hang out with me, scratching my ears and talking to me about his day, as if I understand the ins and outs of insurance claims. But hey, I'll listen if it means I get more belly rubs. If there's one thing I do love about Christmas, it's the smells. Now, I don't mean those fake pine scents Henry sprays around. They're fine, but nothing to howl about. I'm talking about the real stuff. Like, last week, Henry brought home an entire ham, and he left it right on the kitchen counter, unguarded. That thing was so close, I could almost taste it. I managed to stretch myself onto my back legs, paws balancing on the counter, nose twitching inches away from paradise. But just when I was about to snag a piece, Henry caught me. One loud "Frank," and I was back on the ground, pouting. Close, but no ham. At least I have the holiday treats to look forward to. Henry's got this friend named Lisa, who always drops by with these amazing dog-friendly cookies just for me. She gets me. Last Christmas, she brought over a bag of peanut butter bones, and I was in heaven. I've been keeping an eye out for her this year. Every time I hear footsteps in the hallway, I go straight to the door, ready to greet her with my best "I'm a good boy" face. And then there's the wrapping paper. Henry thinks I don't notice, but every time he wraps a gift, I make a mental note of exactly where he puts it. He laughs and says I'm a little Christmas spy, but he has no idea. The second he leaves, I sniff out those boxes like a hound on a mission. Half the fun is trying to unwrap them without getting caught. And the best part? All the leftover paper. He hands me the scraps like he's doing me a favor, but little does he know, that's all I wanted in the first place. Would I ever admit it to Henry? No way. But between the food, the extra cuddles, and the chance to steal a few ornaments, Christmas might not be the worst thing ever. The thing about winter in Brooklyn is, it's cold. Like, freezing your paws off cold. Now, I'm a bulldog, not a husky. My idea of a good time is lounging in a warm, sunny spot on the couch, not braving the Arctic conditions of the sidewalk. But Henry? Oh, he loves it. He pulls out my red sweater, the one with the obnoxious snowflakes on it, and insists we go for a walk every morning. He says it's good for me, that I need the exercise. Exercise? Look, I've got plenty of muscles from all the indoor laps I do around the living room, but Henry just laughs and zips me into the sweater. I give him my best "you're kidding me" look, but once again, he's not swayed. Outside, it's a wonderland, all right. A wonderland of cold noses and slippery sidewalks. The neighborhood is decked out, and I'll admit, the lights are kind of magical at night. All the houses twinkle, and even the grumpiest guy on the block has a snowman on his lawn. People are friendlier too. I get a lot more head pats and treats on our walks around Christmas. It's like they think I'm part of the decorations or something. Fine by me. I'll take the attention. I might even give a little tail wag, just for effect. Then there's the snow. People love it, and I get it. It's pretty. But as soon as my paws touch it, I regret every decision that led me outside. Henry throws snowballs, expecting me to chase them like I'm some retriever. When he sees me standing there, unimpressed, he throws one my way, which, of course, hits me right on the snout. I sneeze, look at him with the most dramatic eye roll I can muster, and plop myself down in protest. Enough of this nonsense. I'm ready for some hot cocoa and a blanket, even if I have to settle for Henry's old couch throw. Now, here's the part about Christmas that truly baffles me. The gifts. Every year, Henry seems to lose his mind over these boxes wrapped in colorful paper and ribbons. They show up under the tree and just sit there, mocking me with their secrets. I've learned from experience that some of these are for me, but there's no way to know until Henry gives the all clear. So, for days, I'm left circling, sniffing, and plotting. Henry says I'm like a little detective, but honestly, the suspense is torture. Last night, I caught him wrapping up something that smelled suspiciously like my favorite beef-flavored chews. He tried to be sneaky, shoving it in a bag with some tissue paper, but I could smell those treats from across the room. I could almost taste them. I gave him my best puppy dog eyes, hoping he'd crack and hand them over early, but he just chuckled and stashed the bag under the tree. Tease. What really gets me, though, is the lengths Henry goes to hide his gifts from me. He'll bury them in the closet or tuck them behind the sofa like he's some kind of secret agent. Doesn't he realize I've got the nose of a bloodhound and the determination of, well, a bulldog? Eventually, I find them, of course. It's just a matter of time. But I play along because, honestly, I'm starting to enjoy this little game of cat and mouse we've got going. It's not just the decorations and presents that come with Christmas. Nope. This holiday brings visitors. Lots of them. Now, I'm not what you'd call a people dog. I'm more of a Henry's personal shadow type. But around Christmas, Henry seems to know every person in Brooklyn. Friends, neighbors, and random people I've never seen before show up at our door, armed with boxes and bags and these strange-smelling desserts that no dog in his right mind would touch. I try to make the best of it. After all, more people usually means more treats, and I'll take those any day. But there's only so much socializing a dog can do. After an hour or two, I'm over it. I make my way over to my bed and curl up, hoping they'll get the hint. But Henry's friends are the persistent type. They'll come over, scratch my ears, and talk to me in that high-pitched voice that humans use when they're trying too hard to be friendly. I give them a polite wag, but trust me, my patience is wearing thin. The carolers are the final straw. These folks show up outside our building, singing at the top of their lungs. Henry thinks it's charming. He opens the window, smiling like he's in some holiday movie. I, on the other hand, am not impressed. I bark as loud as I can, letting them know that they're disturbing the peace. But they just keep singing, ignoring my very valid complaints. Eventually, I give up, flop down on the couch, and wait for the madness to end. Christmas Eve, the big day, or, as I like to call it, the feast day. Henry always makes this huge dinner, and, lucky for me, he's not exactly the neatest cook. Bits of turkey, gravy, maybe even a sliver of cheese. Stuff just magically finds its way onto the floor. I consider it my job to keep the place clean, you know? It's a tough gig, but someone has to handle it. This year, though, Henry went all out. I watched from my post near the kitchen door as he prepped a bird big enough to feed a small army. The smells were downright heavenly, and I could practically see that golden, roasted skin calling my name. He even made something called stuffing. Now, I didn't know what stuffing was, but it smelled suspiciously of sausage and herbs, so I was all in. I parked myself right next to the oven, letting him know I was ready to do my part. But then it happened. Just as Henry was pulling the glorious golden turkey out of the oven, he slipped. The whole dish wobbled, and for one glorious second, it seemed like that turkey was about to make a perfect landing right at my paws. But no, Henry caught it just in time, steadying the pan with the skill of a chef on a mission. He shot me a look, half laughing, half panicked, and I gave him my best disappointed stare. We both knew how close I'd come to the best Christmas ever. Still, I managed to score a few bites here and there. Henry, softy that he is, slipped me a little piece of turkey under the table while his friends weren't looking. The man might be a pushover, but I respect that in an owner. One thing I'll admit Henry does right at Christmas, our midnight tradition. Every year, when the guests finally leave and the apartment is quiet, he grabs a blanket and snuggles up with me on the couch. He calls it our time. Now, normally, I'm not a snuggly kind of guy, but there's something about Christmas Eve that gets me every year. Maybe it's the soft glow of the lights or the way the world seems so calm and still for once. Either way, I let him pull me close and we sit there in silence, just the two of us. Henry talks to me during these moments, his voice softer than usual. He tells me about his plans for the next year, his hopes and dreams, the things that keep him up at night. And I listen. I don't understand everything he says, but I get the feeling that these talks mean a lot to him. Sometimes he scratches behind my ears, and I close my eyes, pretending I don't care. But the truth is, I do. It's our time, and even I can appreciate a good tradition. That night, just as he was drifting off, Henry looked at me and whispered, "Merry Christmas, Frank." I gave a small wag of my tail and nestled closer, letting him know I felt it too. Maybe Christmas wasn't so ridiculous after all. Christmas morning came, and just like every year, Henry acted like Santa himself had walked through our door. The gifts were piled up under the tree, and he tore into them with the enthusiasm of a kid. But the best part? My gift was right at the top. Wrapped in shiny red paper, there it was. A big, bone-shaped toy with a squeaker. I couldn't believe my luck. Henry tossed it to me, and I tackled it like a champ, squeaking it as loud as I could just to show my appreciation. After my new toy came the treats. Actual dog cookies this time, not the cardboard ones. Peanut butter and bacon flavor. I munched them down, savoring every bite. Henry laughed, watching me with that look he gets sometimes, like he's just as happy as I am. And for a moment, I understood what all the fuss was about. Christmas wasn't just about the decorations or the food or the ridiculous sweaters. It was about the little moments we share, the quiet nights, the laughter, the feeling that, even just for a day, everything was perfect. As the day wore on, and Henry and I settled into our usual routine, I felt a strange sense of contentment. Sure, Christmas was overhyped, messy, and more than a little absurd, but in a way, it was also kind of wonderful. For once, Henry wasn't rushing off to work or stressing over deadlines. We had the whole day to ourselves, and I felt like the luckiest dog in Brooklyn. So, what's my take on Christmas? Well, it's a mix of chaos, cold noses, and occasional leftovers. It's baffling, to be sure, with the jingles and the lights and the strangers who think my tail wag means I want to be petted by everyone. But if Christmas means more time with Henry, more treats, and maybe a new toy or two, then I think I can get behind it. And who knows, maybe next year I'll even wear that ridiculous snowflake sweater without a fight.